Ooh, all right, all right. Good night, good morning, good night. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night in case I don't see you. Shout out to the Truman Show. Let's see if we're live. We got one, we got two, we got all three. So I'm going to ask a question I already know the answer to, and that's are we live? I said, are we live? It looks like we are. Vigilante wins here on another episode of Sunday Night Casual, maybe games, question mark. I'll talk about that in a second. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. This was the storm of the century here in the South. I don't know how it affected other places. I think other places did get some actual snow. We didn't. Just got cold. It's cold. It's cold. Hey, Tom Jensen, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here. It's cold, but overhyped as usual. Overhyped as usual, which I prefer, honestly. I'd rather it not be what they make it out to be. Shout out to the economy stimulus it made out. You know what I mean? Shout out to H-E-B, Kroger, Costco, Walmart, all the places that made out like bandits. When everybody made out like bandits, taking all the water, taking all the milk, bread, and all the essentials, and going crazy with it. Just for like a day or two of just chilling in the house, which I actually did go out on the roads today, and it wasn't that bad. I didn't even encounter ice, though I think I did see somebody who had gotten into an accident. And Tom Jensen says it's so cold outside, hot dog turned into chili dog. It is cold. I will give you that. It's definitely cold. It definitely rained a bit, but wasn't that icy here in the greater in the Houston area that I'm in. I think in Dallas it was a little worse, but I didn't, it wasn't too bad. I did get a little sick earlier, but I'm over it now. And then I actually, after I didn't even watch the whole game, the second game, and I'll get into football in a second because I think it might be the end for me watching football. I think I can, I'll just get into it now. As you guys know, I've done a lot of football content on this channel. I've done sports content. I even had a sports channel that I've kind of let be dormant. Though I also think it's rigged, and I've thought it's rigged for a while. In fact, ironically enough, with the Super Bowl matchup that we have, Patriots versus Seahawks, the last time they faced each other in the Super Bowl was 10 years ago, exactly, ironically enough. And was it 10 years ago exactly or 11 years ago? I can't remember if it was the 2015 season, 2015 Super Bowl, so forgive me. No, the 2015 season was the Cam Newton season, right? Do I have that? I would have to check. Anyways, about 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years, somewhere around there. And it was one of the first Super Bowls, and you had heard about it being rigged for a while, right? But the infamous, they're on the goal line. It was the Broncos winning the Super Bowl. Okay. So that means the Broncos beat Cam Newton. That was another play. So it was the year before. It was 11 years ago then. 11 years ago, Patriots, Seahawks. Seahawks at the goal line. Best running back in the league at the time with Marshawn Lynch. They don't run the ball. Also, athletic quarterback at the time with Russell Wilson. Could have ran a bootleg. To the opposite side. Had other plays outside of throwing the ball right to, what was the guy? Was it Malcolm Butler? Right to the Patriots DB. I can never explain by the logic of football why that play happened. And then the next year, as Tom Jensen has brought up, the Broncos win. Peyton Manning, one of the worst quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that as an asshole. I'm saying that statistically, if you look at his Super Bowl runs, they're terrible. The years where he had great statistics, they didn't win the Super Bowl. It's they lost to the Saints and they lost to the Seahawks when he had great statistics. When he had shitty statistics, his team won. Go figure. Anyways, Cam Newton, who was the MVP that year, because of his athleticism, running through guys, he would run head first into random players in random games. Some game in September or October, he would run head first. In a playoff game, running head first. But all of a sudden, the fucking ball's on the ground in the Super Bowl. He's not having a great game, and he just stares at it like it's about to get up and grow legs. And you're like, why the fuck wouldn't you fall on the ball? Who knows? Who knows? So that was back-to-back years. And then the next year, 28-3. And so from that point, I'm like, I don't know about football, man. I don't know if this shit's real. I don't know if this shit's real. And I felt that way. There's more shit that's happened since. But it's like, I think this shit is rigged. And I can talk about that Saints call against the Rams. It was 2019. There's a bunch of other minor things. And as a fan, I had to turn in Peyton's order for nachos. Oh, really? Oh, man. I had to turn in Peyton's order for nachos once when I worked at the ski resort. Did you actually interact with him? And how was he if you did? You may not have. You may just, set the shit on the door and you just say, hey. But was there any interaction? And if so, was he decent to deal with, an asshole? Hopefully he was decent. I wasn't trying to shit on Peyton Manning there. It just happened to be. The years he had good statistics, they didn't win the title. The year he had shitty statistics, his team carried him. Oh, you was just a telephone operator. Okay. Cool. Which, I don't know how Peyton Manning is. I know he has some skeletons in his closet. I didn't watch. I watched part of. I watched most of that Broncos and Patriots game. For me, man, it was just. I'll show the fucking plate. I'm like, okay, man, this is. Listen, I've watched punts. I said punt. I didn't say any other word. My entire life. And hey, Forbidden Ruin. And I didn't see the whole. I stopped watching after this moment. I didn't see the whole Rams Seahawks. And listen, I had no rooting interest in these teams. My team is the Lions. My secondary team is Houston because I live in Houston. They're both long gone. And even that Houston game, C.J. Stroud played like he was retarded. Like he had. That's why I still think he has brain injury. Whatever. Let me see if I can find this muff punt. I've seen muff punts. I've seen mistakes. This looked fake. This looked like I was watching a bad WWE spot. That's what it looked like. If you ever see WWE when they fuck up and they just totally botch, that's what it looked like. Here we go. We might get a commercial because you know what this fucking YouTube is, but hopefully I can play it. And I just turned up the audio. Is it going to play? Okay, here we go.
Best punter in the league come out and change field position.
So they'll try and do. Beautiful spiraling deep kick. Smith who bobbled up before. He lost it. Seattle recovers.
I'm sorry, man. Listen, if he's just retarded, I guess I have to accept it. And again, I don't have a rooting interest. This is another thing that happens when something janky happens. If it's a janky play or a janky call, the other team will just say, cry about it. Or your fans for the other team just cry about it. I'm not a fan of either team. I picked the Seahawks to go to the Super Bowl after the Lions were out.
Deep kick. Smith who bobbled up.
He just falls down. He has so many other options. He could, if he doesn't have to touch the ball. He could block the guy in front of him to stop him from touching it and hope that it goes into the end zone. He instinctually he's there. He just falls.
He lost it. Seattle recovers.
And just holds his hands. Like, what is this play?
For this team.
And here's another thing.
Their special teams coach in
it's night and there's no sun in his face. I guess there's lights. Maybe he lost it in the lights. It just looked bad. Maybe he's just retarded. I'll grant you that. Maybe he's just retarded. But it looked like this is fake, and it looked like a WWE botch. It looked like a WWE botch. So I'm like, you know what, man? I'm willing to suspend disbelief as long as you guys allow me. If you're not gonna allow me to suspend disbelief, if you're gonna throw it in my face that this is bullshit and that none of this shit is real, and all the players all shit on fans whenever they get the chance. And then, not only that, there's other decisions around the league. Forbidden Rule, you're a Pittsburgh guy. I got a question for you. You've had the same coach for 19 years. His issue is he doesn't do well in the playoffs, even though he gets you there year after year, right? When that coach is let go, why would you get another coach with the same issue? Can you explain why you would hire Mike McCarthy after letting Mike Tomlin? And I know Mike Tomlin, quote unquote, stepped away, but I'm sure Pittsburgh was okay with that. So why would you hire Mike McCarthy? You wouldn't. Exactly. You absolutely wouldn't. There would be no reason to hire a coach with the exact same issue as the coach that just left. And by the way, every team Mike McCarthy didn't make it to the playoffs with is more talented than a lot of the teams. I ain't gonna say a lot because you had those AB, Le'Veon Bell. You had some good teams in the 2000s. There is no difference between McCarthy and Tomlin. There is really little difference. Hell, a lot of the players that McCarthy won the title with were there when he got there, similar to Tomlin. So, why would you hire him? That hiring makes no sense. Again, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers are just retarded. That's fine. I guess I have to deal with that. And I'm not trying to be offensive when I use the word. I'm being literal. Because logically, it is retarded. It is retarded from logic. I can't explain these things. I can't explain these things. So as a fan, somebody who tries to suspend disbelief because everything in entertainment is so shitty, maybe if the fact that they kept him around didn't make that much sense either. Right. So I guess the logic with that is the Rooneys are cool. They're good enough with just being good enough. The NFL is a business. It is also a business with this revenue sharing. Being mid is profitable. Hell, being terrible is profitable. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals owner. They didn't fire their coach. So, okay. Yeah, all those wild card losses. Because it was since 2016. So what is that? 2017, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So you got 9 straight wild card losses. You know what I mean? Then you pick a guy who barely wins playoff games and who usually has more talent than what you have now when he is underachieving. So I can't make sense of it. Maybe I'm doing too much. But it just felt like the boom mic failed, so to speak. That I'm watching something that I know isn't real, but that the fourth wall broke accidentally. It's like even though I wasn't a big fan of the show, you remember Game of Thrones and it was infamous where there was like a Starbucks cup in one of the scenes. They forgot to take it out. That's what this feels like. Like I'm trying to watch the show. I'm trying to suspend disbelief. And then I see this Starbucks cup in the back, and I'm like, okay, I know it's fake. You don't have to throw it in my face. That's what I felt like as a fan. And I get nobody else. It's just another day. If I was on the internet forum, some Seahawks fan like, oh, you're a Rams fan, cry about it. No, I'm not. I picked the Seahawks. No, I'm not. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan either. I don't. It just looks stupid. Hell, even the guy that going back to my team, the Lions hired an OC, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown on his podcast, because all these fucking players have a podcast now, says, oh, what, you don't trust Dan anymore? Oh, the fans don't know ball. Didn't you guys do this shit a year ago and fire the guy? What are you talking about? You just fired your last OC like a week ago that you hired a year ago. Of course we're skeptical over the new hire because of what. Now, it looked like Mike McDaniels just wanted to go to L.A. But, why are we skeptical? Because you hired an OC that's, come see, come sa. You know what I mean? He's mid. And you just hired another OC and fired him. And you guys were just as hype about him. Oh, yeah, everything's going to be great. And then he's gone the next year. And then when there's some skepticism, oh, you guys don't understand football. Which we don't. We don't understand whatever Divine Nine fucking booty hole rituals you guys do after the games. We don't. But like, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm being insulted as a fucking fan constantly. What will Tomlin do after this? My guess is he's going to the broadcast booth. Like Belichick after Brady left. He didn't do good at all. He didn't do good. I guess you had the 1 year with my guy McCorkle Jones, a.k.a. Mac Jones. His rookie year, they went to the playoffs, and then after that, it was a fucking disaster. That's why he's with the 49ers. And he may get another chance this year. We'll see. Hey, Fizz. So, yeah, I was just complaining about why I think the NFL's fake. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just, seeing things too much and you're just paranoid vigilante. Belichick is returning to the NFL. I mean, shit, he has a 20, what was that girl? 24, 25, and she's the one who runs his life. I mean, that's his business, I guess. Is he doing okay at UNC? He was only there like a season, right? Or maybe 2 seasons? I don't know. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what team wants him in the NFL. I'm sure, you want the chance of the guy who went to, 10 Super Bowls or 8, or however many Super Bowls he went to, won, 6 of them as a coach, a couple more as a coordinator. So, I mean, you would want that guy, but he's also like 70 some odd years. You might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. We'll see. There's still a lot of head coaching jobs empty. There's a lot of jobs empty. This is one of the years with a lot of turnover. So we will see what happens with that. But I just feel like, man, it's hard. It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch. And you know what? Even though I don't invest a ton of money into the NFL, I put some money. I bought a ticket last season, not this past one, but the year before. That was not cheap. I bought jerseys. I did the little bullshit fantasy football shit. Wasted money on that. So it's not like I'm putting nothing towards the NFL. I just feel disrespected as a fan. And I feel disenfranchised by all entertainment right now. It's all so unwatchable to me. And shit, watching these commercials, man. I'm convinced that modern commercials are just society's way of brain rotting the boomers and the Gen Xers. Because they don't get on the internet as much. I guess some of the Gen Xers do, but you know what I mean? So they need their brain rot. Those commercials aren't marketing shit but brain rot, man. Oh, my God. They're unwatchable. I have to hit mute whenever it goes to a break because it's so fucking bad. So fucking bad. But, shout out to if you do still love the NFL, I'm not knocking you. I understand it. I still want to. It's a cool ecosystem to waste time, man. It's a cool way to waste time and to have a little bit of escapism. That's all I want is a little bit of fucking escapism. Just to escape the struggles of the day. And it's just like, God, nah, this is all fake. It's just, hey, this is all fake bullshit. It's all fake bullshit. It's all waste of your time. It's like, fuck. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I was given this where I didn't make it. But we will see what happens with that. We will see what happens. As far as tonight, sorry I'm late. I took a nap, during the game, actually, during the Seahawks-Rams game. And I don't even know if I'm watching Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not interested in Bad Bunny wearing a dress, which is allegedly going to happen. I don't really – I mean, I'm assuming the Seahawks are going to win. Maybe they're going to reboot the Patriots. The Patriots really have done so little to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, one of the easiest rides to the Super Bowl I've ever seen. Doesn't mean they can't win it, though. It's just one game. Anything can happen in one game. But I feel worse as a fan. I feel like I'm wasting my time. But again, as far as tonight, kind of overslept. Sorry I'm late. Retro Richard has sent me, and we got the bots here on Kick. Thank you, Kick. He sent me a couple of old CODs. I don't know how to install them. I'm going to try to install them live if he shows up because he wanted to play zombies. And he said he would stream. So if he shows up, but he could be asleep. He could be asleep because it is so late. So if he is, we'll just do a quick casual. I'll be on another 45 minutes or so, and we'll get out of here. Try to get to an hour. We already did 20 minutes. Okay, so yeah, about 45 minutes. Oh, sorry. Try not to sneeze. Sorry about this. Hopefully it's not that audible. So yeah, if he does show up, we'll try that. If not, I'll just rant for another 45 minutes and then we'll call it a night. But thank you guys for joining. It's always cool to see who shows up, and if anyone shows up, it's a blessing. And you guys are awesome for showing up. What else is going on in the world? I saw somebody else got shot by ICE. Not to be in the news politics cycle. I haven't been following all this ICE protest Minneapolis stuff. It seems like people keep getting shot. People keep getting killed. So I don't know. I didn't even follow the original story where the girl was in her car and got shot while she was driving. Everyone says they deserve it. That may or may not be the case. I'm not saying it isn't. Because, again, I'm not following enough to know, to be honest. I'm just, why lie to you? Why lie to you? Yeah, that one, it looked like she deserved it, that she was trying to run the guy down. And that started everything. Well, I guess it was already happening, but you know what I mean? That really kicked everything off. I did see one clip that it looked like maybe the ICE were the aggressors. Because it looked like it was a bunch of them. Well, it looked like he had a phone. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. I did see one where it looked like the guy only had a phone. And they were very much the aggressors, and it didn't look like he put a gun on them, but I just saw one clip on Instagram, so I'm not deep diving on any of this stuff. He had a SIG 380. That's 100% on his own. Did he pull it on them, or did he just have it on him? Because here's the thing. I am not just off of print, independent of the quote-unquote right-left shit, I'm never going to be a guy. It wasn't a phone. It was a mag for a SIG that he put. Okay, so he did pull up. Well, that's not smart. But like at the same time, like I'm never going to be like, yay, law enforcement murdering people. It's like, I'm not an authority guy. I'm not a back to blue guy. I've seen some wild shit with ICE. I'm not. So he did. Did he put? Again, I guess I could look up that video and see what we find. Live research it. Instead of asking you, why not just and I don't know if the internet's gonna fuck with me on this, because if we're watching someone get murked, sometimes the internet gets fucked up. It went off after he was disarmed. Okay, let's just see what happened. ICE shooting in Minneapolis footage, and who knows which one we'll see. It's an unseen video. Let's look. Let's look. Why not? Why? We'll see if we get in trouble. We'll just look, play. I mean, if it's on YouTube now, I don't know. So let's just play. Let's just see. No, I'm gonna turn it up. Let's see what happened. This is from the 24th. So this is a recent one. So what I can tell. I wish you didn't have the music. Do we have one without?
Then at least 9 more.
Can I get something without music and just with the audio of what happened? Let's try that. Okay, guys, I just want the fucking footage, man. I don't want everybody's slant. I don't want everybody's production. I just want the footage, man. And I just want to see what happened. From there, it looks like he's pretty subdued, right? Is it not playing it? Holy shit, what is going on? Yo, it's not playing. You guys can't see this. Am I losing it? It's black for you, but it's not for me. What the fuck? Holy shit. We're getting live censored, guys. It doesn't show shit for you, but it shows it for me. Holy shit. What in the fuck? Okay, let's try a different clip. Now that's freaky. That's freaky, man. I'm sorry. Regardless of what side it is, that's nuts. Can you please show? All right. Okay, then maybe this will show it. Jesus Christ. Okay, Alex Preddy is. We'll look him up if we can't find him.
Yeah, I don't know your windows. No, you're just right inside. Let's go around.
This doesn't look like it really helps us. Okay, well that was of no use. But that freaks me out that it censored it for you. I'm looking at the preview in OBS and it's blank, but I'm looking on my screen and it shows the footage. So I was like, okay, that's freaky.
Cell phone video shows the moments leading up to the shooting.
Oh, this is going to be edited. I just want, Jesus Christ, I want a non-fucking edited video. That's all I want is it's 60 seconds, man. 60 seconds and oh boy. Now, I got shit. Because, there's, let's just say some of these deaths in Minneapolis in general have been plants, right? There's been some. Hey, we got to go back to this. And just deal with the fact, because this is, unfortunately, this was the best one, even though we couldn't get the sound. I just want to see, okay. I just want to be able to make my own fucking determination free from spin. And this is kind of the video I did see, and it looks like he's on the ground. I can't see, she's getting the beats. That pissed? They pissed
In the
him?
last few hours, newly analyzed video has raised serious questions about a fatal federal shooting in Minneapolis. Footage reviewed by CNN appears to show something critical happening seconds before gunfire erupts. According to a CNN video analysis, a federal immigration officer may have removed a gun from 37-year-old Alex Preddy just moments before officers fatally shot him.
I'm going to leave a lot of stuff alone.
That detail now sits at the center of growing scrutiny. Bystander video shows a chaotic scene. Multiple federal agents are on top of Preddy, struggling to restrain him on a Minneapolis street. As officers shout, "He's got a gun," one unidentified agent reaches into Preddy's waistband. Seconds later, that agent emerges holding a weapon that appears to match the handgun later released by the Department of Homeland Security. Just over 1 second after the gun is removed, a shot is fired. Then,
well, if I had audio, I would know
more.
that. I can't fucking find one with audio. Look, man, I'm never going to. What do I do with this one? Because the one thing I just talked about stuff being rigged, right? I was talking about the NFL, and I'm sorry. Let me look at the chat to see if anything. I can't fucking find a good thing. You don't know what I'm supposed to be playing. They might be censoring shit. YouTube is censoring shit. So yeah, she was even from Minneapolis. A lot of these things, and then looking at the guy, I'm not gonna make any opinions on what his background might be. It's crazy that they censored it. There's definitely some fuckery afoot. I am leaning into this is a plant story, and this whole thing's been a plant story. This is, and that may not be the answer anyone wants. It's not, hey, kill leftists, hey, ICE are demons, which, I'm not a law enforcement guy. I'm not pro law enforcement. I'm not anti, not to fund the police either, but I'm never going to be pro government, pro law enforcement. Just not, you know what I'm saying? I kind of, again, I just showed the muff punt. talking about, hey, this looks like this is rigged. Seeing the angle censored, seeing the guy and taking a guess at his background, coincidental. I think it's a planned story. I think this whole shit's rigged. I think this whole shit's rigged to bring up division and to make motherfuckers mad at each other. And there's a reason apathy is usually my first answer to this shit. And it's not because I'm some cold sociopath. It's not because, I'm pro anything. It's just because it's like, you know what? The world's filled with bullshit. The whole fucking George Floyd thing was bullshit. All these stories are usually bullshit. All these big stories they push are usually pushed. They're usually made up. And yeah, you'll get a video of something happening, and something is happening, and and they may even sacrifice a motherfucker. They all are, demons and shit. But this story is about division. I want to know what's the quote unquote Maxwell trial, referring to, of course, how Johnny Depp's trial was the same time as Maxwell's trial, and that story got pushed. What is the story not being pushed? So this whole, what's happening behind the scenes while we all focus on this? That's what I would like to know. That's great. This has nothing to do with anything, but shout out to somebody using Final Fantasy VIII as a Romeo and Juliet poster. This original image. I mean, it's been edited, but it's from Final Fantasy VIII. So I know it just happened to be on my other screen, so it has nothing to do with anything. But that's my thought. I think this is, and again, the censored angles is weird. I've not experienced that where the censorship on YouTube is so smart. And it really wasn't YouTube. OBS was doing it itself. I wish maybe I could use my phone to show you guys what I'm talking about. And maybe, who knows, maybe they'll censor it from that. But on one screen, I have two screens. One of the screens has the OBS preview. The other one has, what I'm actually looking at and what I'm playing. And I can see what I'm playing, but the OBS preview, all black. It wouldn't allow me to play the angle. So you say it's justified. I think it's just a whole psyop, whole big psyop, just to get the people. They got to keep this right-left division while they fucking rob us blind. And again, I am trying not to be that guy that constantly talks about the coincidence crew. But looking at that guy's background, maybe he's not, but he looks like he's a coincidence crew member. Right? So that doesn't help the viability. And again, on surface, I don't want people to be killed by law enforcement. It doesn't look like if I just go off of the visual that we were allowed to see that didn't have the sound on when the gunshots started to ring out, he didn't look like he was in position to be a threat. And I'm not. So if I take the story above, the at face value version of the story, which I don't. I think it's just a fucking psyop, right? I just think it's a complete psyop. But if you want if the story's real, with the information you have, what is your opinion of it? It didn't look like he was a threat to the people at the time. I'm not cool with, I've not been cool with ICE this whole kind of time, man. I get immigration. I also get, like I said, going back to the rig thing. That is great. As a 2A absolutionist, I am happy about that. That makes me happy. Right? Because I am more 2A than I am. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a righty or a lefty. At least I don't think of myself as either. But I do like 2A. I'm glad more Dems are 2A. I'll take it. Because I think the entire country needs to be more 2A. Because I don't trust the government at all, and I'm never going to trust the government. That's not going to happen. And yeah, it's not going to happen. But yeah, I would lean towards, if I have to, again, think it's bullshit, but I would probably lean towards the they didn't have to do that. I don't think they had to kill him. They didn't have to kill him. They had to shoot him. I don't think they had to shoot him. Again, using the above ground, if they shot him, right? If this isn't just some rigged thing and the guy is in a tunnel in New York somewhere enjoying his life. I don't know. But this is why I don't cover the news, and this is why I don't cover the politics thing, because everything is made, if you're on the right, oh yeah, it was justified. On the left, they're killing us in the streets. And it's like, okay, man, I don't know about either of these stories. I don't know about either of these angles. Well, then that's not good. Because you know what I mean? That's why they make jokes, stop resisting, when you're just standing there. If the officer's fear of is a threat, because I feel like people say that because they don't think it'll be them, right? They don't think some officer, and shout out to the female officers. I don't know if you guys ever see, and a lot of it depends on your fucking algorithm. If your algorithm has not seen crazy fucking cops pull people over and just draw their weapon on people for no fucking reason, you might feel some type of way. And if, the demographics of the person, they don't all look like me, if that fucking matters to you, fucking bigot. Some of them look like y'all, and they get the same fucking thing. It's like the guy who was like fucking blind, and they're telling him to put down his cane because it's a weapon. It's like, I'm not going to be on the cop's side. You know what I'm saying? If you view a blind guy with a cane as a threat, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of my audience tends to lean a little more right, and like I said, I'm a 2A guy. I lean right in principle on certain things. I don't like big government, even though neither side is that. And I'm not pro law enforcement, man. Law enforcement is obviously a necessary evil. We need order. We need peace. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not pro all these things. I feel like, sometimes a lot of times the cops in the wrong. Now listen, I've seen other shit where, they're trying to tase a motherfucker and the motherfucker's just tanking the shit. And I was like, okay, I get why something might escalate. So I get that side of it too. I'm not trying to totally say the cops should never use force if needed. But I don't know if in this situation, if it was needed. And so I don't know. But I don't live in Minneapolis. Shout out to Prince City. Shout out to the lakes of shout out to Lake Minnetonka. Shout out to Apollonia. That's all I really know about Minneapolis and the Vikings, whose quarterback is going to the Super Bowl for another team. But it sucks to see. It sucks to see, period, because this is used for division, man. This is used for people to get more and more on this right versus left thing. Hate their neighbor a little more if they don't agree with them. Hate people that don't agree with you on certain issues. So I'm not going to be a fan of that. Not going to be a fan of that. Again, is this even a real incident? That's a whole nother question. I got my questions on the validity of the incident, but if I take it on face value, I don't know that they need to do all that. I would say the from the videos I've seen, again, I didn't deep dive either. What you just saw with the censored fucking footage was the deepest dive I've done on this one. I would say the first time with the girl in the car was a little bit more justified. I can understand that, and I can say, hey, man, you can't be fucking. Your car's a fucking weapon, right? And he had the right to feel threatened. I understand why he felt threatened. There's like 8-9 cops jumping a guy. Just put this fucker in the, just put the handcuffs on this motherfucker, toss him in the, the back of a truck and go about your day. You know what I'm saying? That'd have been easier for a lot of people if they had done that, right? It would have just been the simplest answer. No one would have died if they did that. So if you need my scoring, I would say that the first one. I didn't see the one in the middle. 'Cause I think there's another one, and it may be more than that. I'm sorry, I'm not keeping all the score. I would say the first one. I think the guy in ICE was justified, a lot more justified. That one, I can't say that. I got to say, hey, man, it's like 8 of you. He's on the fucking ground. He doesn't have his hand. He's not like waving the gun. He didn't pull anything out. Maybe he was reaching for it, but one of the videos said that they took it from. I don't know. This is about as much time as I want to spend on this story. But I think for me, the most interesting takeaway is the fucking censorship tech. That's the most interesting takeaway for me. That if YouTube does not want you guys to see some shit, you won't see it, no matter what the fuck I'm doing. That's the scary part. That's oh man, they will really censor reality. Now you guys can obviously search, and you guys got your opinion. You ain't got to agree with me. That's fine if you don't agree with me. It's understand, whatever. Y'all opinion's y'all opinion. I don't know any of these people. None of this is ever going to affect me in real life. You know what I'm saying? I may not ever go up. I always wanted to go to Minnesota just to see, like, I'm a Prince fan. It's Paisley Park Studio, now a museum. But, this is never really going to. I'm in Texas. Maybe the ICE thing could. I'm racially ambiguous to some people, so maybe they think, I'm a Latino, and I don't even have I have my license. I got a Social Security. I don't know. I think my mom still has my birth certificate. So if they papers, it's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So I'm not. I guess I lean a little more anti-ICE than probably y'all do, because I'm not a law enforcement guy. I'm not about to go start swinging at cops. You know what I mean? Start doing dumb shit. But I'm not like I've seen some crazy shit with law enforcement, even in just recent years. A lot of it didn't go viral. Most of it didn't go viral because it's usually the real incidents don't go viral. It's the shit they want you to be divided by that goes viral. And again, not every incident I see where the cop is in the wrong. Sometimes the people in the wrong. Shit, I don't know if y'all ever saw that. I think it was in Florida, but the guy jumps off the fucking Whataburger thing, and he's like, I don't know if he's on crack, fentanyl, what, but he's running. He's a fucking menace. So I mean, it is what it is. Fucking is what it is. And I don't think Richard's going to show up, so I don't know if we're going to play any games. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we try this again. I keep falling asleep after work. I'm just so fucking tired, man. And then, this week I was kind of sick. So, yeah, I would say, in regards to this killing, I think that it wasn't as justified. The first one, she's in a car, and she looked like she was about to run a guy down. Yeah, I'm not about to do that either. That's not good. That's not right. The guy is a person. He's got to defend himself. So that's where I stand. That's where I am. Even though, again, that's me taking. That's not my actual opinion is all fucking rigged. My actual opinion, this is all one big psyop. But if I got to give I would say they're overstepping. I think that I think there's got to be a smoother way to do this shit. And a lot of people are just celebrating it blindly. And it's like, oof, I am not cool with the precedent of that. And, I would like a little bit more due process in the process, if possible. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm an expert on everything. They made fun of Trump using ICE for a police state last year on South Park last year. I see. That's an interesting topic. I remember, and I've talked a little bit about it. There were a lot of people upset that Trump was getting made fun of on South Park and that Biden hadn't got made fun of, which does seem to have some truth to it. Though they did make fun of some leftist concepts, put a chick in it, make it gay and lame, and some other things. But it did seem like they didn't necessarily go it by. But at the same time, South Park. I mean, he's on the ground though. Like I said, I don't know how he's attacking them from the ground. He wasn't kicking up. He wasn't doing anything. So I don't know about that. They weren't airing episodes when he was president. No, that's fair too. That's fair too. I don't know. And I'm not even just talking about that situation. I mean, if you want to, sheesh, because I wonder how y'all algorithm works. And if y'all algorithm has shown y'all some of the stuff that I have seen. And then, hell, I'm about to look this up, and I don't even know if they, how do I even look this up? Let me see. Let me see if I can find. I'm trying to see if I can. I don't want to find a story. I want to find like some raw footage of like them I saw them raid an elementary school, and it was like, what the fuck? So, you know, I've seen some crazy shit from ICE that maybe you guys didn't see, and even, maybe you did. Maybe you saw it and didn't give a fuck, or felt whatever way. But I've seen some wild shit of ICE just running into schools and all sorts of shit. But I would come across it like, you know, doom scrolling and shit. And so I would say ICE has overstepped. Now, you know, you saw it. I'm trying to find it. I keep seeing, and I can show y'all what I'm looking at, if it shows you, because only God knows. So yeah, I keep seeing different just stories on it. I kind of just, maybe I'm better off looking up shorts. Can you guys just look up the short? So I've seen different, and you look at them, you say, man, you're dealing with kids and shit. There's got to be a better way than this. Let's try shorts. Maybe I'll get better. I'm looking for something that's not necessarily associated with a news story. Like, there's got to be a smoother way of doing this. I don't know if I'll be able to find what's going on. Oh, CNN. Still didn't want to use CNN. I wanted to find an independent source. Oh, Zeus. And I'm hopefully all this is showing on screen. I'm just scrolling. A lot of you're spin both ways, right? So I'm trying to just find the raw footage. I don't know if I can find it. What the hell? So I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of CNN stuff. I get that spin. I'm trying to stay away from that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to find the shit I'm looking for. So I'm going to stop looking for them. Heard about ICE entering school to apprehend 3 suspects they were chasing that took hostages. That's fucked up if that happened. I'm not going to cape for that shit. That's fucked up. But yeah, I remember seeing, and I wish I could fucking find it, elementary school, and they were like, they had kids and shit on the ground. I'm like, come on, man. You just got to be a better way of doing this. Shit, let me see if I can find that story you're talking about, Rowan. Let's see if we can find that. That's not, you know, I'm not trying to, even if I got an issue with ICE, I do want to try to be fair. Shit, was that here? No, that's just, look this up. I see something that's coming up in Houston. So, hold on. So let me see. Let me just. This is a Houston story. No, this isn't. This isn't it. Jason. Okay, I literally just hostage. Nice. Let's try that. Seattle area. Okay. I'm not finding that either. And again, I'm sure it happened. But there's already some censorship going on, as y'all could see or couldn't see. So I mean, yeah. So that, I mean, obviously taking hostages is fucked up too. But you know, just because one person took hostages doesn't mean you got kids on the ground screaming and crying. And I really wish I could show that, because that kind of fucked me up when I did see that. But that was a while ago. This is the story I'm talking about was like months and months ago, maybe even a year ago. But I mean, I did see it. So I don't know. If you're pro ICE, it's your business. I'm not gonna tell you. My issue with American immigration is the two-facedness of it, right? And literally back-to-back presidencies of it, right? We have one president literally offering immigrants and illegals and whatever, anything you could want, literally enticing them to cross the border. And the very next president is putting all these resources into getting rid of all these people. And I just think the whole process is a fucking joke. And then you have companies, big multi-billion-dollar companies who face no consequence for such, literally encouraging these protests. A lot of these protests are funded by Walmart and other companies that benefit from illegal immigration and illegal labor. And so that two-facedness, we're not like Japan, as I keep saying. Japan has a strict policy. They don't, hey, if you want to work under the table, that doesn't happen there. They don't allow motherfuckers from all the different countries, like, oh, you want to come from the Philippines and Cambodia and all the countries that wait down visit. You want to come there and come here and just work in the shop for less? Yeah, you can do that. No bullshit. You can't come. You follow these rules. These are the only rules to follow. You follow them. You can come. You don't. You can't. That simple. If America was that simple, it would be easier to be on ISIS side, but it's not. It's not that simple. They want it halfway crooked, and then you wonder why you have so many immigrants. It's like, well, they were encouraged to come here. And have been, even before Biden, they've been encouraged to come here for 30, 40 years. And companies have been cool making that money off of them. So, and the companies face no trouble. Y'all, if you are in favor of ICE, you are in favor, we got to protect our borders. Shouldn't the companies who consistently hire illegals face some sort of trouble? Shouldn't they face some sort of blame, bear some responsibility? They bear none? That's not right. Because you wouldn't have this almost subculture if not for that. Why is everything in Minnesota? I think it's hey, oh shit, Dempsey, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here. A lot of them aren't against. Yeah, unfortunately, I saw. Maybe I need to just save some of the shit I doom scroll and save some for a thing for these streams. But I saw something. I think it was in Texas, and it was added production. I doom scroll stuff. I'm not deep diving in nothing. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, Dempsey. But it looked like there was a lot of kids in one facility, in one ICE facility. So, and I don't trust this government I don't trust either side or this other side. I don't trust the government with kids. For good reason. ICE is replacing. Why is the media so focused on Minnesota? It may be an esoteric reason. It may be a Freemasonry reason. There's a lot of focus on Minnesota right now, and it was 5 or 6 years ago. Whenever that George Floyd situation happened, which my actual answer to all these situations. I'm giving you my above ground, taking the story at face value. My actual answer is all this shit psyops for division and other nefarious things, and there's probably something behind the scenes that's happening that's way more important that we're not paying attention to. So that's my actual response, just like, with all this other stuff. But this said, whoa, now let's compare ourselves to the country that literally chose a side with Blitler. Well, hey, Blitler's become a very popular figure in the past few years, if you notice. And I mean, if we're going to play that game, what we did to Japan wasn't necessary. I mean, even though Japan did a lot of wild shit. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but we got our get back plus some. We'll say that. That those bombs are That had a lot of impact. But I am comparing the immigration attitude and immigration, not just policy, but the spirit in which the policy is enforced, where one country consistently enforces immigration and another country selectively enforces immigration. And over the history of my lifetime in America, immigration has been selectively enforced. And I don't know if that's disputable. Like, what part of it would you dispute? Are there not parties that profit off of illegal immigrants? There's a whole subculture dedicated to it, not just the employers, but check cashing places and fake papers, and there's a whole economy, an underground economy based upon illegals, especially if you're talking about a Texas, a Florida, a New Mexico, a California, Arizona. You know what I mean? Certain states where there's a higher concentration. So, I feel like, because a lot of people don't count the whole America as America. There's right versus left, but that's not, it's just America. It's all one thing. I'm going back to my training at Meyer. It's like, if they see you with a name tag, you're Meyer. So regardless of whether it's an R or D by your name, you're America. And, there's fuckery on both sides of this situation. So I do feel for the people who are just trying to do their job, go about their life. Am I denying that there's also fucking gangs and they were taking over fucking apartment buildings and doing all sorts of wild shit? No, I'm not denying that. That's also a thing, and that can't happen either. You know what I mean? So, there's multiple things can be true. Multiple things can be true. So, how many Latinos want to be where it shows all the time? I can't imagine. Like, how many Latinos are in Minneapolis, Minnesota anyway? I mean, I'm sure there's some, right? But, like, you know what I mean? I just named a bunch of states where you would imagine is more populous. Distraction reason, they found fraud, so they like unleashed the distraction. Definitely could be. I mean, look at the government, Congress, reps, all the mayor, only in Minnesota pushing violence. To take maybe that's a good theory as either. That Somali fraud is very. I didn't totally dig deep in that, but there's a lot of fuckery there, and usually when there's massive fraud, there's somebody in the government with a sticky finger or sticky hand, pause, who's A-okay with whatever fraud is going on. They don't let commies like we do, buys it with the president. But that's the thing. If you, I don't buy the right versus left. I think there is one big party, one big club. We're not in it. But because they push that division, you can say, oh well, again, I said this right before you had showed up. Maybe you heard, maybe you didn't. But yeah, they had Biden basically invite all these immigrants here, and literally the next president he's got this whole task force, and he's fighting. And I think it's if the goal was to, especially when you look at all the cultural, like you said, the blue-haired leftists, that leftist wave of the late 10s, early 20s left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths still to this day, right? So it made almost anything the right did to a certain section of the country seem like it's justified because of the leftist menace, right? Instead of the phantom menace, the leftist menace. So it's like, I'm not. If the goal was to get a lot more people to just blindly trust the government, it's succeeded in a way. It succeeded. No. I disagree with you. The entire government hates America. The entire government, and this includes your orange savior. I'm not saying he's yours. I don't know how you feel, but there's Biden. His people do not hate America more than the orange man and his people. They're not different people. That's the gimmick. There's not two different groups. There's not one group that hates America, one group that's fighting for America. Everybody is trying to milk America dry. Milk America dry again. That's the whole gimmick for both. and they work in concert with each other and against each other to achieve these goals. That is my theory. I could be wrong. I'm just one motherfucker on the internet. You don't have to agree. That's fine. I don't hate you because I'm not about to. I made the decision. Politics ain't that important. People are more important. So I'm not about to hate nobody if they disagree with what billionaire-backed psychopath or set of psychopaths they like or dislike. But I buy the whole government as one thing, right or left. Rather, and shit, even the fucking technocrats, you know, they were literally a few years ago censoring Trump, and the second he wins, they toss on MAGA hats. You see the fucking lizard man with Joe Rogan. I don't trust. It's one big billionaire-backed coincidence crew on both sides. One big club, like Carla said, we're not in. That's my theory. There may be two sides to the people because they got us divided, but I believe it's a uniparty. We would just have to agree to disagree. And I even believe the pendulum's quote unquote back and forth is a bit of a gimmick. Though again, if I take things at face value, which I don't, right? I would agree that, you know, the pendulum, and that we kind of all saw that at the time, that okay, when you're pushing all this leftist craziness, pushing all this division, that it was going to go back the other way. It was inevitable to go back the other way, right? He said FBI and DOJ are actively protecting autonomous zone in Minnesota. They said they were on the 25th. That wouldn't shock me if they are. Again, I don't buy. I believe it's all one big play, and that the one who's going to be holding the bill are the taxpayers. All of it's taxpayer money, whether it's the DOJ or ICE or FBI. All of it's taxpayer money. We're paying for all of it. We're paying for both sides. You know, it comes out the same pot, regardless of who you voted for. You know what I'm saying? It's all your money. Well, actually, it's not your money. This is your great-grandkids' money. Your money got spent probably before you were born. But, you know, in theory, it's your money. We got a Federal Reserve. They both go to the country with the blue flag and bow down. You know, you guys can feel how you feel. I still love you regardless. It ain't, like I said, politics ain't, I don't want to ever be like, oh, you don't agree with me with this, so we can't be. No, I'm not that guy. Now listen. One thing I will agree with you in the class citizenry, because of a lot of the leftist propaganda, there are people in America that hate America. I won't disagree that. I won't say that that's not true. You do have a class of people who basically hate America and everything it stands for. I'm not going to say that they don't exist. They do. But I push back on both sides. Yeah, the parties themselves are a problem. They are divisive by definition. And the fact that we only have two of them, right? It would be a little easier if there was a more spectrumed view of the parties. Like you maybe had a far-right party, regular right party, center-right party, center-left, regular left, far left. That's 6 parties, right? 6 or 7. No, you have, you know what I mean? More spectrum to view. If you have a more spectrum to party system, a more nuanced party system, a lot of division couldn't really happen because you would have center right and center left who may be more in agreement with each other than far right and far left, right? America isn't Bangladesh. Shout out to Bangladesh. I don't know their party system. Yeah, we only have 2 though. We only have 2 major parties. So ICE is deporting legal immigrants, and Dipsy says no, it's not how the executive branch works. I don't know. Like I said, I've seen some fucked up ICE raids. As far as who's actually getting deported, as far as how much due process is actually a part of it, whether or not actual American citizens are being deported or legal immigrants. So ICE detains people. What happens? Okay, fair enough. But even, you know, well, they can still be detaining people who are legal though. So even if they're not doing a deportation process, if they're detaining them, that's still not great, right? But fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Like I said, I'm never going to be, yay, authority, be running in people's houses. Cool. And another thing, I mean, I'm being a 1,000% honest, man. Even living in Texas, I never immigrants have not negatively impacted my life in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm being honest. Maybe some, deep down they did because of this. Maybe in some, far and not direct connected way they have. But as far as my life, there's never been a time where somebody from a different country, outside of women breaking my heart, it's never been where somebody from a different country had any negative impact on my life in any way, right? And I'm just being dead honest. And if it has happened to you, I guess, that sucks. I'm not trying to take away from your experience, but my experience. Illegal immigrants, they've never impacted me. I'm not saying that we should not protect our borders. I'm saying we shouldn't have a two-faced way about our borders. And we shouldn't have, if you're going to have all this smoke for the actual individual immigrants, you got to have a lot more of this smoke for the companies that hire them and encourage. Even before Biden, even in the Clinton era, even in the Bush era, you had motherfuckers coming to this country because they know they could find work. And there were companies, and there are companies, big and small, that hire illegal immigrants purposely. They need more. If there's I don't understand why they don't get more smoke from you guys who are pro ICE, from you guys who are pro, hey, we got to enforce our borders. Okay. Don't you think the biggest issue is the fact that they're encouraged to come? If you're so anti illegal immigration, which fine, I'm not judging you for that. I'm saying, why does none of the smoke fall on the companies that facilitate it? And Minnesota, $18 billion in fraud, how $8 billion in fraud that we know of. Ooh. Maybe that is the Maxwell. We'll call it the Maxwell trial. That's a lot of money. That's 20 bills right there that we know of. Shout out to the Somalian pirates. I'm the captain now. God damn. God damn. But you like I said, this is Biden didn't invent this. You know what I mean? So the biggest issue is that some bigwig commie sued us, would have illegals in this country, sued Texas to take down the border. But this goes before. JBL had a fucking skit about this in fucking 2004, 2005 in WWE. This is not new. This concept didn't start with Biden and Trump. This concept was happening when Trump was still doing fucking Home Alone cameos and Biden was still in Congress. And he may have let a record number in, but this concept is older than me. So again, Walmart, no smoke for them. Cool. Because I can blame Biden. I'm not going to blame all the 30, 40, however many years of companies making hundreds of millions, billions of dollars of profit off the people. They're never to blame. Because past 5 years is the only years that matter. Doesn't matter in 1996 they were still hiring illegals. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter there's been a whole subculture that grew again before Biden or Obama or Trump or any of these motherfuckers were even thinking about politics or thinking about presidencies, right? That none of that matters. They're not, the companies are never to blame for anything ever. It's just the way it is. Whatever, because this is not. A lot of those illegals were second, third, fourth, fifth generations. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't see any smoke ever given to the company. Even all these protests. Walmart funded a lot of these protests. I didn't see a puff of smoke pushed in Walmart's direction. We all still panicked when they said it was winter, went to Walmart and bought water. There's never any smoke for the company. And I'm not saying, because that's my only thing against with being just totally like, hey, man, let's enforce our borders. Let's do it, because I know it's a two-faced way. And again, I'm not caping for what Biden did. Again, my perspective might be that it was all on purpose to have one president let a bunch of people in, and you have another president kick them out. Now that's a big thing. And it definitely, for people who love Trump, this is like, yeah, this is what he ran on this and he's doing it, and that's my president, America first. Even though I would love to know how it's positive for America. And then, honestly, with all that fucking Somali fraud, I mean, it's like, shit, could you do something about that? I would love to not have been defrauded by billions and billions of dollars by the Somali, I'm calling them Somali pirates. Like, that's fucking crazy. $56, I don't know about the house. I mean, I'm sure that's the case. Nobody's making what argument? I say a lot of things, so I'm ranting. So which argument is nobody making? And maybe I'm the one making, depending on what it was said. Much of it did. There's an immigration bill in the 80s that set this in motion. I felt like it was like a lot more clear about my stance. Biden didn't actually do anything. The people who, fair enough, the people who were acting like they were Biden were doing, he was a dementia patient. That's fair. That's the fairest thing. I think we could all agree with that, because first off, did Biden even survive that presidency? Because somehow he was like 8 feet taller. Mike McCarthy has won more job interviews than postseason games. Oh man, I had my football rant earlier. Well, I'm done with football. I just can't. I can't suspend disbelief to watch football and cover it anymore. It's the fakest thing. So yeah, fair enough to that. Fair enough to okay, not Biden, but just this is an old concept. This is something that started when a lot of us were either kids or a lot younger than we are. Well, I'm not saying it's fine, but they don't get any of the smoke. If you get none of the smoke, you might it's as the same as being encouraged, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, if okay, you got kids now, they're a little older. Shout out to Zombie Man, genius producer, genius. He's a genius. Going back to when maybe the kids were a little more youthful, if both of them spill a juice, but you only yell at one of them, then one of them got away with it. And both of them were involved with spilling juice because they were maybe both playing, doing some dumb shit, not juices everywhere, but you only yell at one of them. Maybe you only yell at the oldest because they're supposed to be more responsible, whatever. But the other one kind of just got away with it. You didn't encourage it. You didn't say, yeah, keep doing it, but the oldest got away with it. I don't hear the right, though. The right can talk. The right has plenty of talking points. There's millions of talking points that the right has. I never see the right say, boycott Walmart. I never see the right say, I'm sick of these companies encouraging all this shit. I never see the right say, all the different companies that employ immigrants have to be taken to, they need legal action against them. I never hear any of these talking points, ever. And there's plenty of people who are talking heads on the right. They never say, hey, hold the companies that encourage mass illegal immigration and have done so for decades. Let's hold them to task. If you can show me a right talking head telling me this, then I'll back off of this point. But I never see somebody who's on the right, and they can say all the stuff. They can be pro-ICE, they can be pro-Trump, they can wear a MAGA hat, have a flag in the back of their background. I never see them say, yeah, the companies that encourage this and profit off of this illegal immigration need to be taken to task, and legal action needs to be taken against them. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it one time. And so that, to me, with that being, because that is the undercutting part. That is the reason this is even a problem. If nobody could get a job, if you weren't, imagine do you think we would even have this problem if nobody could get a job if they weren't a citizen? If there was no work for, you're not a citizen, we can't hire you. If every single company in America had that policy, why would people even come here? How will we even have this problem? How could this problem ever exist? Because a lot of times we'll talk about other countries. They protect their borders. Do they do the halfway crook shit? So the right media is as blameworthy as the left media with this, and of course the left media, because they're in favor of it, right? So why would they hold their own side to task? Going, because I'm trying to talk in two different perspectives. I got my own perspective, where I think the left and right is the same thing, but then I got to go with the perspective that gets presented, because that's what gets presented. You know what I'm saying? That's the world that we live in. Rather, I think it's a world behind that world or not. It's still the world we live in. So I get, this is why I don't talk politics. I just was on the fucking MF. Shout out to Matt for Fireball Production. But this is why I get into the. I like talking to y'all. Y'all cool. I love y'all. And we ain't gotta agree on everything. I still love y'all. That's not the point. But it's just I constantly feel like the average American is getting duped to fight in a culture war that the powers that be aren't even in. And that bugs me. I completely agree with you that companies hiring illegals fuck up. But then that just shows how trustworthy of a media source Fox is. And that's the other answer. Hey, we still need commercials from everybody. So Walmart, I keep saying Walmart because they're probably one of the biggest they're the biggest company, them and Amazon, right? So if they're not gonna toss commercials with us, we don't want to piss them off. Fox started talking about, people will turn off their TVs. So that means you're not really a media source, you're a propaganda source. Well, you got what's that shit, Newsmax, and then you got the internet. Now I know we're at this weird divide, and I even said this on the cocktail lounge, thinking about that fucking. There was a story with was it Nick Fuentes and Sneeko and Andrew Tate, maybe his brother there too, and a few other of the kind of new age right wing personalities, and they're, I want to say Miami, and they're listening to that. They had the club playing that fucking Kanye Blittler song that's kind of gotten popular on the internet the past year or two, and I'm like, to a group of 50-year-olds and older, 60-year-olds and older, that has to play crazy. They have to look at this like this looks crazy. But if you're on the internet, you're like, okay, the song's kind of a joke. This was all in jest. So I definitely get that the traditional right media has its own built-in fan base, own built-in audience, and they're only going to deliver to them what they want. And they're not going to deliver what they don't want or what they're going to find. They're never going to platform any of these personalities that I just mentioned, even if they are on the right. They're never, because they're just too, for the boomer conservative, Gen X conservative, they're way too extreme, way too off the wall. You know what I mean? Maybe for the Gen Z, for the millennial, they're fine. Maybe even the younger Gen X, but when you get into the older, I say, I'm going older than me because I'm about to be 40, right? You know what I mean? Like, first I used to say 40, but now that I'm 40, it's like, ugh. But even people my age and older, I'll go as that. People my age and older, I'm probably at the cutoff point either way of finding those persons, which I'm not a big fan or big hater. I mean, some of the Fuente, if they're funny, I'm cool with it, but I'm not a big stan of either, honestly, of any of those personalities. I'm not a big hater of them either. I'm not about to talk, well, Nick Fuentes said the okay, he said the N-word a million times. Good for him. But of the major, you're right that Fox is of major media. But how impactful is major media? I guess, they're definitely sometimes more impactful than I realize, because I'm such an internet, can't get off the internet type personality. I stream on top of everything, on top of all the doom scrolling. So I sometimes forget, hey, most people who get the news, they're getting it from their local news, and they're getting it from the 24-hour news channels, of which there's basically only CNN, CNBC, and Fox News. I guess news Max is another one, but they're kind of in between the internet and mainstream, right? Where I mean, not everybody has Newsmax, but some people do. They're a little bit bigger than a Daily Wire or a Fuentes or some other right-leaning major platform individual or group, right? Problem is, large majority of folks say I don't do politics. Well, I'm part of that majority, to be 1,000% with you. I probably pay more attention than the average person who says I don't do politics or don't pay attention to politics. I don't know if I believe that their vote counts, because I'm not sure if the votes do count, personally. And it seems like, depending on what happens, half the country tends to agree with that, just depending on their guy or gal wins or loses, right? Because a lot of people in 2000 wasn't sure that their vote counted. Or not 2000. Well, actually, I was correct, right? Going back, I meant to say 2020, but 40 and Sliv, if you remember that the Bush Gore thing, there was a lot of people who didn't think their vote counted. And going back to 2016, people thought maybe remember that Russia, quote unquote Russia hoax. Then in 2020, you had the Dominion thing. You know what I'm saying? So people have questioned on either side, depending on what happens, whether or not their vote is counting. Said most people. I don't know if our votes count. It's Bush Gore, not Gordon. See, you know the dude's name. Al Gore. Al Gore and George W. Bush was in 2000. There was a lot of controversy on the shots of the hanging chads in Florida. No, I'm not talking about a group of bar hoppers. I'm talking about the old school voting and whether or not the indent went all the way through and who got voted for. Al Gore. Al Gore invented the internet. That was a meme, which he did not. But I think he did have something to do with the regulation of the internet. Listen, in theory, I actually do agree with you. Everybody does not deserve the right to vote. I absolutely, he's got that. That's the recounts in Florida. That was totally a Freudian slip. I meant to say 2020 because of the Dominion thing. Because I wasn't sure that everybody's vote counted then, and I actually did vote in 2020. I've told the story before. I wasn't going to vote, and listen, as much as I've spent a good portion of this very stream being very critical of the right, I voted for the orange man, and I'm gonna stand on it, because I don't, all the disrespect. You don't vote for me, you ain't black, and all the bullshit that the left put everybody through in 2020. I was gonna not vote. I was gonna say, you know what? But I happened to, when I had moved to North Carolina a few years earlier, like 4 or 5 years earlier, I had registered to vote, so I was already registered, and I updated my registration at some point just in case. And North Carolina has early voting. I think they still do. I mean, it was only 4 or 5 years ago. Well, now 6 years ago, because 6 years from 2 weeks to stop the spread. Don't forget that. And remember how that was such a political thing. I mean, I think that's why so many people are on the right now, was the politicization of the COVID. I'll just say it. So look at you. You never voted for Trump or Biden or Harris or Clinton or Obama. I have voted for Obama twice, and I voted for Trump. I'll never vote again. I'm done. I'm not voting anymore. The world will be covered in ice. Hey, he didn't say which kind. Stupidito. Who was his running mate? Who was Al Gore running with? I fucking forgot. Oh shit. I like Stupidito. But yeah, they kept showing Obama of all people, and it's the most important election ever. Kerry, yep. Kerry, because he ended up going in 2004 by himself. Both Skull and Bones members, him and Bush, and then Tim Russert asked him about both being Skull and Bones members, and then he's dead within a year or two. No, you're right. You're right. It was Lieberman. Thank you. Yep. Kerry ran in 2004. Lieberman was Al Gore's vice president candidate. And who was Kerry's? Now that we think about it, I had to look it up. But you're right. It was Joe Lieber. I forgot all about Joe Lieberman. But anyways, back to 2020. Where I lived was an apartment complex. Shout out to Still Creek. Shout out to Charlotte. There was a Publix there was Publix across the street, and there was a school right down the street. And this school, they had early voting. So I literally walked, voted. I voted completely R because I was so pissed at the Democrats. I just voted straight R. Anything Republican or just straight R, basically. But I actually clicked each one. And it felt kind of lit because I was just so sick of the left. I went and got a Publix sub, went home, smoked weed, ate my sub. It took all of 5-10 minutes. Whatever it took me to walk. And everything, everything was in a 5-minute walk area. Everything was really close. John Edwards. Shit, I forgot about that guy. You're right. Shout out to DuckDuckGo. Fuck, I forgot about this motherfucker. Yep, John Edwards. You were close to Ed something. Carrie, a.k.a. Lurch. Yeah, shit. Y'all ever see, let's see if we can find the Tim Russert thing. Tim Russert of Meet the Press fame asked John Kerry about Skull and Bones. And they kind of answered. Let's see. Okay, we'll see. Shout out to Tim Russert. They were pretty forgettable, yeah, right? We do remember that. What was the guy? Howard Dean. Yeah! I remember him. Shout out to Wes. Wes would have him in the fucking, he was one of the little sound bites in his, talking about Wes Moody. Shout out to Wes Moody. He's doing like fitness stuff sometimes on Instagram. But hold on. Y'all remember Tim Russert?
Skull and Bones, the secret.
And I don't think he knew what he was talking about. So he died. Okay, it was 4 years. 4 years later, Tim Russert died. I thought it was 2 years, but okay, he didn't. He had immediately died, and he had a little size on him. Heart attacks happen. But let's see if y'all remember. The old heads remember this shit.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go on.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322.
First of all, he's not the nominee, and look, I look for.
Are you prepared to lose?
No, I'm not going to lose.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, a secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
And we'll be watching. Be safe on the campaign trail. John Kerry, thanks for joining us. And we'll be right back.
My next guest is a man who needs
Okay, that's all we're going to go, because I don't know what the fuck this is. But, I don't know. And listen, I don't know if that's why he ended up dying. It took another 4 years for him to die. But it was a strange thing, him asking, "Golly, what the fuck is with the early 2000s why is everything recorded in a potato?" I don't remember. Why does the early 2000s look worse than the 90s and the 80s? Like, if you watch something from the 80s, it looks clearer than if you watch something from 2002. I don't think George Bush knew what he was talking about as a general stance. It's correct most of the time. He just, you could tell he just had this conspiracy theory side. He was just, he didn't mean no harm. He just having fun with the fact they were both Skull and Bones members, but they both were Skull and Bones. This is why, one of the many reasons I think this is a uniparty, whether I'm right or wrong. I'm just a guy on the internet. I appreciate that out of all the guys on the internet, y'all choose to come here. If they are in Skull and Bones, they couldn't tell you about it. They weren't. If they weren't, they still wouldn't be allowed to talk about those colleagues who were. That's true. You're right, Fizz. Because people in the 2000s were obsessed with digital cameras, even though the technology wasn't quite there yet. And that is the truth. Because that footage is aged like fucking milk. from the 2000. Like you watch like a basketball game from '04, and it's like, what the fuck? And '04, here's a Pistons one. So I'm like, oh man, you want to see a 2004 game? It looks terrible. You watch a game from '98 that's recorded on film, it still looks good. So yeah, the digitized film looks way better than that early digital footage. It just looks a million times better. Everyone's iPhone's a million times better. It's just a mess. All right. Oh, let me just check. Nothing but bots on Kick and Twitch as per usual. We went over the hour. I didn't think we would go an hour and a half. Talked about a lot. I always appreciate that. We ain't always got to agree on every little thing. And, hey, man, this is not the land of competitive agreement. I have my view on the political structure. I'm not right about everything. I'm not wrong about everything either. But, I appreciate it. And I understand y'all point. I'm not, I'm not just trying to just shit on ICE just to shit on it. I just think as a whole, listen, I guess because I'm constantly having to diagnose my own problems in life. And you got to get to the core reasons why things happen. And when core things aren't being addressed, I have, especially when we talk about things in mass, have a tendency to think fuckery's afoot. But in any event, we didn't play games. Maybe we'll try to play Call of Duty Zombies if I can get Richard on board, who might be pissed at me because I keep falling asleep. Pause. That's not. Oh boy, pause. Shout out to Richard though. But I'll try. We might get Call of Duty Zombies, and me and Richard streaming tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get that going sometime tomorrow or Tuesday, since those are my days off. In any event, it's been real. It's been fun. It's actually been real fun. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. Oh, and Dempsey, you got any new music? If you got any new music, appreciate it. And if your son, tell your son if he has new music to come around this way. We're always interested in hearing you. Yes, we wish you luck and fortune as well. Thank you for joining us. We will be back in the week. Well, that's somebody else's quote. My bad. All right, I'll talk to all you guys later. Love y'all. Peace. And I kind of waited to see if you would say something that you do have a new album. Dope. I had a new album. I got to work on it. Hopefully I can work on it this weekend. All right. Let us know when it drops. Let us know when it drops because we will play it. We will push it. And check out my album. It's I think the link may be in the description. All right. Peace.